Old Man Winter is upon us literally like never before. It looks like Gary Gilmore has run out of time, and Jimmy Carter spends his last weekend as a private citizen. Details next on Action News.
George Siegel tonight, 11:30.
Action News. Delaware Valley's leading news program with Steve Levy and Bob Hite.
Good evening. The Flyers send the North Stars packing, and the FBI closes in on espionage activities. But the big story on Action News tonight is the temperature. Right now, it's 2 degrees and falling in Philadelphia, where it's expected to finally stop at 2 below, and in the northern and western suburbs, it may go to 10 below. But that's not the worst of it. We have meteorologist Evan Myers of AccuWeather on the line to explain why. Evan?
Well, that's right, Bob.
Well, I remember at the beginning of the winter season, you gentlemen out there had predicted that the temperatures would be below normal this winter, and boy, you were right on the money. And I thank you very much, Evan.
Okay, Bob, keep warm.
We'll try.
Evan Myers of AccuWeather. Once again, we want to stress the danger these conditions pose to a public unaccustomed to them, and that's us. Hazardous driving conditions almost goes without saying tonight. The snow will freeze solid tonight, becoming as dangerous on the roadways as ice would be. Perhaps the biggest danger is a breakdown. Don't drive if it's not absolutely necessary, and should you break down, police say pull as far off the road as possible, put out flares if you have them, and turn on your emergency flashers. They say stay in the car, out of the wind, and if the engine is running, be sure to turn it off. Better that you be cold than asphyxiated. It seems almost certain now that Gary Gilmore will get his wish tomorrow. For having shot and killed 2 fellow citizens, he will himself be shot and killed by 5 fellow citizens, a firing squad formed by the state of Utah. Tomorrow morning at dawn, the 5 anonymous riflemen will bring the barrels of their .30-30 carbines to bear on a bullseye pinned over the heart of Gilmore's hooded figure, and firing simultaneously, they will perform one of the most publicized executions in history. There is still time, of course, for a stay of execution, but as we learn in this report, all efforts today proved fruitless.
Opponents of capital punishment consider this their last reasonable hope. Greg Dobbs, ABC News at the Utah State Prison.
That last remark is indeed true, because Gilmore is not the only man in America scheduled to be executed this week. On Wednesday in Texas, Jerry Jurek will be electrocuted unless efforts for a stay of execution in his case succeed. The U.S. Supreme Court will consider a stay on Monday. Jurek, like Gilmore, has said he wants to die, but recent reports suggest his attitude may have since changed. He is sentenced to death for the murder of a 10-year-old girl. In another murder case, Cape May County Police report the arrest tonight of 63-year-old Welford V. Allen in the killing of a 73-year-old Woodbine, New Jersey farmer and his 69-year-old sister. Police say Allen was a boarder at the couple's home, but so far have not determined a motive. The victims are identified as Ernest Locklear and his sister Hite. They both were killed with a shotgun. Fire killed 53-year-old Leroy Slater today in Philadelphia. The blaze broke out sometime around 3:30 this morning in the living room of his home at 1938 Garrett Street in the south section of the city. Officials say Slater had returned home at about 2 a.m. with his cousin, who was blind. The 2 men apparently fell asleep in 2 living room chairs. The cousin, who was not identified, awoke when he smelled smoke but was unable to rouse Mr. Slater. He fled into the street and was unharmed. Slater was pronounced dead at the scene. The cause is believed to be careless smoking. News was released today that the special prosecutor probing Farview State Hospital has reportedly talked to a federal prison inmate believed to have important information about patient deaths at that facility. According to sources, the federal prisoner may have been involved in the 1966 death of patient Robert Jackson and also may know about the deaths of 4 other patients. Grand jury hearings are scheduled to open February 1st into the investigation. Last Tuesday, France outraged millions of people when it released Palestinian terrorist Abu Daoud. Daoud is suspected of having been the mastermind behind the 1972 Munich Olympic massacre.
Daoud's release appears to have been a conscious decision by the French government. Jack Smith, ABC News, in Paris.
In other international news, FBI agents said today they have charged 2 Americans with conspiring to commit espionage by passing secret documents and other material to a Soviet agent in Mexico. According to FBI Director Clarence Kelly, 23-year-old Christopher Boyce of Rancho